Pokefans, Michael here. There's a pretty solid chance that a lot of you already know about the cool stuff that was announced at E3 earlier this week, and for me personally, since I'm a Nintendo guy, the Nintendo stuff is the most exciting, especially the part where in probably a year or a year and a half, we're going to have a main series game of Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. That's the most exciting part for me. But if you are also somebody who likes the other Nintendo games, especially on the Switch, you should definitely follow me on Twitch, because I figured out how to stream from my Nintendo Switch, and we'll definitely be streaming a lot of Nintendo games on there. So if you're not already following me on Twitch, you should definitely do so, twitch.tv/MandJTV. Even if you know barely anything about Pokemon, you probably know who Ash Ketchum is. Your first thing you likely know is Pikachu, and then right after that, it's Ash Ketchum. He's the star of the TV show, and he's been around for quite a long time. Ash is, of course, a Pokemon trainer, and like a lot of Pokemon trainers that we're familiar with, he owns some pretty powerful Pokemon, like Charizard, Infernape, Snorlax, Sceptile, Greninja, and several others. However, one thing that sets Ash apart from a lot of other Pokemon trainers that we're familiar with is the fact that he has had so much success with unevolved Pokemon. Ash has gotten pretty far into several substantial regional tournaments where several members of his team have never evolved whatsoever, whereas pretty much everyone I know defeats the Pokemon League in the games with a team of fully evolved Pokemon. That's pretty impressive that those unevolved Pokemon could be that good, and it got me thinking, which of Ash's unevolved Pokemon are actually the strongest? This is a pretty hefty topic, so I've got MysticUmbreon here with me today to help me figure that out.
Hey guys, MysticUmbreon here, and today Michael and I will be going over what Pokemon we believe to be Ash's strongest unevolved Pokemon. For clarifications, this means Pokemon that have not evolved, period. So Pokemon like Pignite or Bayleaf do not count, as well as Hawlucha, Tauros, Snorlax, or any Pokemon that cannot evolve.
And once you finish this video, be sure to go check out the video we did on his channel where we figure out what the best possible team is for a playthrough of Red and Blue. And I can assure you, there's going to be some Pokemon on that team that you really would not expect. So be sure to leave a like on the video, comment below what you think Ash's strongest unevolved Pokemon are, and subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, here are Ash's top 5 strongest unevolved Pokemon. Number 5. Weasel. Weasel was the water type that Ash had on his Sinnoh region team, and an interesting thing about this Weasel that you won't know if you haven't watched the series is that Weasel actually started out as Dawn's Pokemon. Dawn caught Weasel, but it wasn't long before they realized that Weasel preferred to battle, while Ash's Aipom preferred to do contests. So they ended up trading. I think the fact that Weasel was willing to move to another trainer that was more focused on battles shows that this Pokemon is pretty serious about battling, and as a result, it fared pretty well in official battles.
Some battles that come to mind is when it defeated Crasher Wake's Floatzel and Quagsire, Fantina's Gengar, and Paul's Gastrodon in the Sinnoh League. These Pokemon are all fully evolved, and Weasel is known for its battling spirit, wanting the competition for stronger opponents. This is definitely seen when it ties with Malin's Lucario. Water Pulse and Aura Sphere explosions left and right, and the battle was just so epic. Weasel is very strong, and that competitive spirit it has makes it that much of a formidable foe.
Number 4. Squirtle.
Shell-shocking into the number 4 slot is one of Ash's OG superstars, Squirtle. Ash obtained Squirtle in the early days of Kanto, where it followed Ash after his heroic efforts of helping the Squirtle squad. Squirtle was one of Ash's 6 original Pokemon, and stuck with him throughout Kanto, the Orange Islands, and even a small portion of Johto. Throughout Squirtle's journey, it was able to pick up some great wins, such as the Nidorino in the Indigo League, the battle with Rudy where it first learned Hydro Pump, and of course the Orange Islands where it helped Ash win the Orange League Championship. The best accomplishment he has literally ever had.
Ash only used Squirtle for a short time in the Johto region because early on in the series it was called back to help out the Squirtle squad, but he brought Squirtle back for some battles in the Johto League. Its most impressive performance was against one of the earlier round battles in a 3-on-3 match. Ash was down 2 Pokemon to 1 with Squirtle being his only left, and Squirtle came back and defeated 2 Pokemon, including an Electabuzz that he had a pretty substantial type disadvantage to. Squirtle also defeated Brandon's Ninjask in the Battle Pyramid at the very end of the Battle Frontier saga. Now while it is just 1 Pokemon, it's still a pretty impressive feat since Brandon is a spectacular trainer and Squirtle hadn't battled in a long time. The fact that it could do so well after being pretty rusty is a pretty impressive feat in my opinion. Number 3. Corphish.
Next up, we have another water type, this time being Corphish. Ash caught Corphish in the early days of the Pokemon Advance series. Corphish has always been sort of like a comedic type of Pokemon, getting jealous easily and showing awesome battling spirit. For a funny Pokemon too, Corphish can cobble foes pretty well with that crab hammer of its. I mean, it was trained for a while, being all of Hoenn and the Battle Frontier. I know that this is also another water type Pokemon, but Ash has a lot of them and has only ever evolved 2 of his water types, so it makes sense for Corphish to be on this list.
Ash's Corphish has a pretty surprisingly impressive track record of official battles. It defeated 2 of Flannery's 3 Pokemon, it defeated 2 of Juan's Pokemon, and it defeated several Pokemon all throughout the Hoenn League. In addition to that, it also fought against Dome Ace Tucker when Ash was in the Battle Frontier. Swellow and Corphish teamed up against Swampert and Arcanine, and somehow came out on top. I just think that's really impressive. Corphish also had a lot of success both in double battles and single battles, so it can kick a lot of butt by itself, but it also knows the art of teamwork pretty well. And one last thing that impressed me personally is the fact that Corphish's moveset included mostly weaker moves, like Vice Grip and Bubble Beam, and the fact that it had so much success with those weaker powered moves shows that this Corphish is pretty buff. Number 2, Bulbasaur.
This is my second favorite Pokemon Ash owns, and is his second most powerful unevolved Pokemon, being Bulbasaur. I've always loved Bulbasaur's attitude of being lax, caring for others, and being a role model to other Pokemon. Ash caught Bulbasaur in the early days of Kanto and was Ash's first Kanto starter, not Pikachu. I am talking about one of the original 3. It's been with Ash for a long time and knows his battling style very well, therefore being able to obtain an awesome win count even with a type disadvantage.
In the Indigo League, Bulbasaur defeated a Scyther and a Beedrill in the same battle. In the Orange Islands, it defeated Rudy's Exeggutor, a strong Pokemon that it had a type disadvantage against. In the Johto League, it defeated a Magneton that it could barely do anything against, and it tied against a full-grown Meganium. And like Squirtle, it battled against Pyramid King Brandon. However, instead of just defeating one of his Pokemon, it defeated one and tied with the other, so it fared a little bit better in that regard.
I also love Bulbasaur's stubbornness and how it refuses to evolve in Ivysaur, so we at least know it's level 16.
In the end, Bulbasaur is a Pokemon that Ash had with him for a really long time, so it makes sense that it would be such a strong Pokemon and had a lot of opportunities to kick a lot of booty. Before we get to the number 1 spot, I just wanted to real quick mention our honorable mention for this list, which is Ash's Gible. Gible was a pretty powerful Pokemon that did get some good wins and mastered a spectacular Draco Meteor attack, but we opted not to include it on this list simply because it didn't have as much screen time as the others, and when it was on screen, it was mainly there for comic relief. Gliscor was definitely Ash's Sinnoh ground type that they put a lot more focus on, and Gible really only joined the team to replace Gliscor when Gliscor took its leave of absence. So while Gible definitely had the potential to be on this list, it didn't spend enough time in battle and with Ash to make it up to the ranks of these others. Number 1, Pikachu. Well, I bet this is the shock of the century for most of you, but I'm not lying. Pikachu is Ash's strongest unevolved Pokemon. I couldn't believe it either. It was just like, what? Now, technically, Pichu does exist, so Pikachu is technically a middle evolution. However, since Pichu did not exist when Ash got Pikachu, I think it's safe to assume that Pikachu did not evolve from a Pichu, so it still counts as an unevolved Pokemon. The other Pokemon on this list may have spent quite a lot of time with Ash, but Pikachu has been with Ash literally his entire journey. The two are perfectly in sync. No one understands each other as well as Ash and Pikachu do, and that makes Pikachu one of Ash's most capable battlers. Pikachu has had some pretty stupid level resets at times, such as losing to a brand new Snivy at the beginning of the Unova saga, but the Unova series was trash anyway, so we should just pretend that never happened. But regardless of its level resets, Pikachu has beat some insanely powerful Pokemon.
It defeated Surta's Raichu, aimed for the horn against Rhydon. I still don't know how that's possible. It beat Drake's Ditto and Dragonite, Regice in the Battle Pyramid, ties of Latios, Alon's Tyranitar and Metagross in the same battle, and even showed an epic battle in the Sun and Moon anime where it took on Hollis Hariyama with her newly obtained Normalium Z. Even with these wins being some pretty notable ones, Ketchum's Pikachu has so many other wins under its belt, it's hard to keep track of, but these are the ones we believe it is most famous for. As the Pokemon anime goes on to, Pikachu will no doubt have more epic battles just like these. It is easily Ash's strongest unevolved Pokemon. Just please no more getting beat by a rookie trainer Snivy. I still call that battle lame even after all these years.
So there we have it. Those are Ash's top 5 strongest unevolved Pokemon. Now that you've finished this video, be sure to go check out the video we did on Mystic's channel, figuring out the best team for a playthrough of Red and Blue. And if you've already watched that, awesome!
Let us know in the comments though whether or not you agree or disagree with our list, and what other Pokemon of Ash's unevolved ones would you guys like to see on this list. I'm sure there are at least some that you guys can think of.
And if you're interested on my content in other places, be sure to go subscribe to my second channel, Michael Groth, follow me on Twitch for lots of fun live streams, both Pokemon and not Pokemon, and if you would like to, you can become a patron and get some exclusive content there. Alright, that's all I have for now, so till next time, Pokefans! Gotta catch them all!